Hi, it's Jamie with UK Extension, and the leaves are changing. It's fall here in Kentucky. That means it's time to plant garlic. And I know that's going to throw some of you off guard, like what? Plant garlic when we're starting to get frost and freeze? Actually, the best time to plant garlic for the best harvest and the largest bulbs is actually October 1st to about November 15th, late November here. However, you need to be aware I have in a pinch planted as late as early January with pretty good results. But typically when we see garlic bulbs available for sale in the spring to be planted in March and April, that doesn't really give you enough growing time since these plants kind of shut down midsummer to get that full-size bulb. So spring planted garlic always results in smaller bulbs, less growing time. So the reason we plant now is to get really good root growth. If we can get root growth and the plants up a little bit, like you see here, in the fall, they will kind of sit in stasis through the winter and that bulb is plumped up, and then in the spring, they're ready to shoot up, start growing immediately, and that's why you get a longer season. So we saved garlic from last year. You may or may not want to take that approach. If you do save your garlic from year to year, it's very important that you scrutinize it closely for any disease problems. Any soft or diseased bulbs should be discarded and not planted. Another tip for you, if you're saving your own garlic, when I've got all this harvested in the summer and I'm sorting through it, I automatically pick my very nicest heads. My very biggest, nicest bulbs all get packaged up in a bundle to dry, and they are set aside. You do not eat the biggest, nicest ones. That is your seed stock for next year. If you're buying garlic, you get what you get, but the disease management and selecting the best for replanting is how you keep your garlic strong. So there are two types of garlic we can grow here in Kentucky. There are soft neck types and hard neck types. Hard neck types produce a scape that is removed, but they do produce fewer but larger bulbs in one single ring around a flower stalk. This is actually soft neck garlic, and soft neck garlic does store longer and keep longer through the summer than the hard neck types, and that's why I predominantly grow soft necks in my garden. So to plant, since we've saved these, they have tops on them. If you purchase these, let me clean this up a little bit. If you purchase them, you're going to get something in a bag that looks a little more like this, ready to go. And this whole thing is called a bulb or a head, and it is made up of individual garlic cloves. To plant, if we planted this whole thing, we'd get a whole forest of garlic and no production. We remove the outer cloves. And I always, with soft neck, which has lots of smaller cloves, the further you go in, I personally only plant the biggest outside bulbs, but I have lots of garlic, and it's not a problem for me. If you're buying seed stock, you're going to plant everything you get. And be careful, because some things that look like one large bulb are actually under these papery tunics are more than one bulb. And if we plant this, what appears to be one, instead of these, we get smaller plants. So this one and this one are actually much better cloves to plant, and I can feel that they're all one solid clove apart. Background, like all bulbs, there is a root side and a pointy side, and we're going to plant pointy side up, and these just go about 2 inches over the top in the soil. So about 3 inches deep total, 2 inches over top of that. Best in really loose, organic, loamy soils. So that is not our natural heavy clay. Give them good, rich soil and you'll have better results. You plant in the fall. After these are planted, we've come behind here with a mulch of straw. Couple things about garlic. They're heavy feeders, and so we feed after planting. We feed again about a month later, and I usually keep that up a couple of times in the spring once we come out of the backside of winter. So it's normal to get a little bit of top growth depending on how warm we stay. This is what you want look like going into the fall. We've got our mulch down. Garlic also does not compete with weeds well, so keeping these clean is important, and the straw will also help with that. But it may provide a little bit of insulation and protect some of this foliage through the winter, but generally it comes through just fine. So if you want to grow garlic, it's a very easy crop to grow. Couldn't be easier. The key to success is just to remember to get your bulbs planted in the fall, do a little planting ahead. And honestly, what slows me up in getting my garlic planted is I often follow another crop, and I may still have beans or something producing at garlic planting time, and I wait until I remove those, and then I work the soil and come behind with garlic. So there's very little else going on in the garden in the winter. It's easy to find. Plant your garlic in the fall. The bulbs will be harvested next year, usually about, sometimes slightly after the solstice, when the tops are about 50% dead. You'll dig these, and we'll probably come back and do a video about actually harvesting garlic next spring. So this is how you plant. Stay tuned for how you harvest and cure the garlic for longest storage a little bit down the road.